What is up and what is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another A Conversation With. This is a very special edition. I'm doing this with my friend Dylan. He's a liberal. I'm a Christian who leans conservative, and he doesn't believe in God, and he leans liberal.
Went there. Okay, let's go.
But I'm excited to get into this with you guys, man. This is a conversation that I've been wanting to make happen for a long time. Mainly because I think that too many times in today's society, everybody just feels like if you're associated with this cloth, that means that you're my enemy. And I wanted to at least make an attempt to show you guys that no matter what side of the fence you stand on, you can still find common ground somewhere. So that's what we're doing here today. And do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself, man?
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to religion 100, 100
Yeah.
miles an hour, just like that. But yeah, I've been an atheist for the not majority of my life. I think like freshman year of high school, I kind of started questioning things. I was born and raised Jewish. I don't know, and I got, obviously growing up in the South, I got a lot of pushback from various people trying to convince me to go to church and whatnot. And it made me question a lot of things and be like, oh, well, maybe Christianity is, the right way and stuff like that. And eventually, I think, ironically enough, people trying to push me towards Christianity led to me kind of questioning everything overall. On the political side of things, growing up, Alabama, obviously, my parents are pretty conservative. I'd say like libertarian conservative leaning. But as I grew up, sort of the same thing. I learned more about how government works and interacted with government more, and eventually settled sort of, I'd say like left of center. I wouldn't call myself like a crazy far leftist or anything like that, but just a normal.
You just ruined the clickbait.
Yeah, I know,
ruined
right?
it.
We could still say that. I mean,
Yeah.
we can dye my hair blue in post or something.
Oh,
like that.
he'll still piss y'all off. That's for sure.
I don't know. I want to find a way to zoom in on the chat more on this. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think we were wanting to start off a little bit hot, at least with Charlie Kirk, talking a little bit about Jimmy Kimmel's cancellation. I don't know. I think Nelson and I have really good conversations. I think a lot of the issue with people's political conversations nowadays is that half of the time when you're arguing with someone, you're not even talking to the person. You're talking to the person that whatever media you're consuming told you that they are. So if you're talking with a liberal, you're talking with someone who, loves crime and loves illegal immigrants taking American jobs and whatever. And if you're, talking with a conservative, you're talking with someone who hates all brown people and all this other stuff. And instead of actually like listening to the person, you're just like in your head, like, okay, yeah, he basically just said he hates brown people. Got it. Okay, yeah, fuck you. Instead of actually having a conversation.
Yeah.
So
well, when Charlie, I mean, they already know everything about me for the most part. But when Charlie passed away, did you feel? What did you think? Like, what was your initial thought? Let me tell you mine, and then we'll go from there. Like, my initial response was, I felt heavy, and I felt like, as a Christian, I felt like people were being attacked for their faith, because that might play a part. That might be because I identified with him based off of my spirituality, whereas a lot of people identified with Charlie based off of their conservativeship. But because of my spirituality, I felt like I was being attacked. And that's where I think you're getting a lot of these people are saying, like, we are Charlie, blah, blah, blah. But either way, it was real heavy for me, more heavy than anything I can remember in recent years. Like, it felt like, holy shit, this is real.
Did you watch the like actual footage, like the gory shit?
Not immediately.
Okay. Did you ever watch? Did you watch it?
Yeah, it came across at some point. I
didn't watch it. I don't know. I'm not into that sort of stuff, and I don't think it would help change my opinion on it. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's good for. Obviously, this has been said a million times, but I'll say it again. I don't think it's good for anybody to get shot, whether it's for your religion or your politics or whatever. Especially not in front of the entire world. Especially not in front of your wife and kids.
Yeah.
I think that's horrible. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to lie and tell you it made me feel like some extra type of way, but I just think
for sure,
in the sense that it represents where we are politically in the United States right now, it's terrifying that like this is what things have come to.
Agreed.
Like the strongest feeling I have on it. I mean, obviously, I don't think it should have happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's. I mean, as simplistic as that sounds, I think that a lot of people think that anybody who voted for Kamala Harris thinks that, you get what I'm saying, thinks that all of you guys were excited about it and wanted to dance on his grave about it. Now, those people are disgusting to me, but I also feel like we can take this conversation a million different ways. But
I just want to say, like, people, you know, and I watched your video, one of your videos, and I think you did 3.
Yeah.
And I saw some of your comments on it, and I just want to say that, like, every single, as far as I know, every single mainstream Democrat politician condemned it immediately, like unconditionally condemned it. People can say, you know, there were some things where Ilhan Omar said it was like Frankenstein's monster killed him or something like that, which I don't know. We can get into a conversation about that, but at the end of the day, it was unconditional denouncing from all Democrats day one, and the people who are Democrats or leftists, which I would say that, you know, I disagree with, you know, leftists probably as much as I do with your average Republican. Those people are not representative of the greater Democratic Party, which is, you know, I think a conversation we can have. I certainly think it's a small piece of what you'd consider like the left or Democrats or liberals or whatever, but like those people, ironically enough, probably didn't even vote for Kamala, because there's this whole schism in the left or the Democrat Party where like all the leftists were mad about Israel-Palestine and just refused to show up and vote, or voted third party, which is basically the same thing. So I just wanted to clarify that.
And I appreciate that, because like I said, I think that it's a misconstrued thing, and I always encourage people to like talk to people. You know what I mean? Like be a part. Like all the kid like touch grass. You know, like just be a part of civilization, and like don't bury your head into the sand that we call the internet. That's the main thing, and I think that creates that team ideology that, I mean, we'll get to. We always talk about that, but it's when I felt that sense of heaviness, I will tell you this: the first thing, the first report that I saw, it's where the guy got fired. I don't remember what news that was.
Which guy?
A reporter like got fired because
I think it was MSNBC or something.
It might have been, yeah. And I think that was a lot of people's on the right's first time hearing anything from a Democrat or the left about Charlie, and that put a bad taste in their mouth as it was. And then you start seeing these like libs of TikTok and all these people that are like, you know, that's what he gets, blah blah blah.
Did he say that? What did that guy? I don't remember exactly what the guy say. I heard the thing where he said like maybe it was one of his supporters shooting their gun off in celebration, which is like super dumb.
Wow, but that didn't deserve. No, it was a little bit beyond that. It was something along the lines of like, hey man, when you talk like this, you know what I'm saying. This is what you get, and that was, I think, the reason that he actually got terminated.
Okay, all right. I don't know if we want to do arguing with chat or whatever, but
yeah, let's do it.
You know, Mama Don says, this is the Democrat platform. Republicans are Nazis, fascist, racist, sexist. I would like you to produce a
Mama
clip
Don
of any mainstream Democrat politician who called Republicans a Nazi, or Donald Trump, I guess, a Nazi. Also, if we're
you can send it to me.
Yeah,
if
you can send it to Nelson and we'll listen to it.
I got Discord open.
Also, do you condemn then?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Do you condemn Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and all the other people who have called Democrats fascists in the same way? Or do you just think they're right? Because that's another problem I have, is there's this phenomenon where it's like, oh, you're this bad thing, you're evil. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you might say, oh, well, calling someone evil is a call to violence against them, because if somebody's inherently evil, then they need to be stopped, right? But, you know, I could say that to a Republican, you're evil, and people would criticize me and say I'm calling for violence. But then if a Republican, someone you agree with, calls a Democrat evil, you'd be like, oh, well, of course you should call them evil because they're evil. So, you know, just because we disagree on which,
No, I agree. It's a weird thing, and it's part of what it leaves me, honestly, it leaves me feeling misconstrued and misguided.
Show you
because
a clip of Trump calling, oh my God. Okay, I'll look while Nelson's talking. I mean, someone did a whole compilation. I think it was Mehdi Hassan, which he's more further left than I am.
Well, I will tell you guys, man. I'm just going to be blunt with y'all. Dylan will find what he's talking about. But I think this could be a good moment and a good opportunity. And I don't want to get too caught up on the live chat, man, because this is something that's. But do that. I mean, do what you got to do. And Mama Don, I love Mama Don. She's very passionate, and I think that. I think that passion can sometimes lead us in a place of isolation, or at least isolate. But you might not even realize that you're isolating yourself when you're trying to isolate so many other people because you feel like they're your enemy. When your major disagreements are probably about 4 or 5 different things, right? Isn't that fair to say? Whereas like 95% of what you believe, you can probably find common ground in. Like, for instance, I'm a Christian, you're not a Christian. Let's just leave it at that, right? But I believe that marriage is a good thing, and I believe the construct of it is a good thing, and I believe that families are a good thing. You would probably agree?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times we have agreements, but what I'm worried about is even that construct is going to end up, you know what I'm saying, where people are like, well, no, I don't believe marriage is a good thing, and I don't believe having a family is a good thing because Christians believe that. So that's their team. Yeah. And I can't believe that because I'm on this team, and I'm terrified of that happening in every aspect of life.
But the people who say that marriage needs to get torn down are the same crazy extremist people that, you know, the same basically on the opposite side of the people on the right who are saying, oh, we need to stop sending our kids to college because this kid went to college and then shot Charlie Kirk. Like, equally insane extremists on both sides saying both crazy shit.
I agree. I agree that as someone who proudly sit my happy ass on the middle of this fence, and I'm super good with it. But I would like to press a little bit because you do, like, Dylan believes that I don't know. I've told y'all before, I think that the far conservativeship, the far right, I believe is very destructive and dangerous in the same way that I believe that the far left is. But would you say that the right is worse?
No. Okay, so
or
I would say,
just in your words, how
if
do you
we're
say
talking
it?
about like political spectrum, I think the extremes on both sides are probably equally extreme. But my contention would be, I think there's more people that are far right than there are far left.
Oh, more people that are far right.
Yeah. So I think, you know, if we're talking percentages, which these are just completely made up by me, but I would say that there's you know, my feeling, and I think, you know, some of it's supported by data. I want to say like 60-something% of Republican voters don't believe or question the integrity of the 2020 election, which is just like crazy to me. I mean, you're talking about an election where Trump filed 62 lawsuits. 30 of them were dismissed by judges on the merits. So everybody says, oh, standing. 30 of them were dismissed on the merits, not just standing. And there were, I think, recounts in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, and maybe somewhere else. Like, there's just no proof. I mean, there are so many lawsuits, so much questioning, so many hand recounts. Georgia, we did 2 recounts. There were 2 reports by Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. And still people are like, you know, that is a level of questioning reality to me that personally, and we've had this conversation where I've used this analogy, I think that level of not being able to accept reality is equal to the people on the far left who think they can identify as like a deer or something. Like,
I agree, but I also think that the defining reality part is part of what people struggle with, right? I think that when you start talking about all of these things that you take as facts, whereas a lot of people look at the situation like, well, I don't trust them judges, I don't trust that court system, I trust my boy, trust Big T, but it's difficult to have those conversations, right? Because if they trust him in that manner, how do you even get across to them, like, if that was factual, and that's where we are, that's the land that we're in. It's like, how do you even present something as factual? If he says something or makes a statement, and y'all know me, man, I don't really dive into the specifics of things like this, which I should. I mean, I have the responsibility. I should do it more than I do. But if he makes a statement and it's factual to him, I think that it's necessary to at least do your due diligence and say, okay, this is factual to him for some reason. And I think the same for you. If you see them say, well, I do believe that. Let's go there. Like, I do believe the election is rigged.
Well,
that's their real belief.
I just want to answer something first. I think that if you throw out everything, if you say, I don't believe anything the judges say, I don't believe anything the Congress people say, I don't believe anything that other governments say, I only trust Donald Trump, then I think you are like a cultist. Like,
I definitely think it's a dangerous place to be. If you only trust
one person,
yeah,
then I mean, we're screwed. Like, that person is so far away from being able to be convinced. Like, in order to have conversations, we need some shared basis in reality, and I think that is probably part of the issue now. Is we're getting separated politically so far that we don't even have any like ground that overlaps that we can have a conversation on. Like,
I agree.
So, and that
it's
I think
terrifying.
Is like, you talk about Hunter Biden, right? Which we're going so many different ways, and we can. That's
okay. We'll rub it back in.
Rub it back in. But you talk about Hunter Biden. The guy, the claims made against him were crazy. Like, all this money laundering and Burisma and trading on his dad's name to make all this money overseas and all this shit. And
huge thing about his laptop. What was the laptop thing about?
The laptop thing. I don't fucking know. They allegedly they were trying to bury it to suppress it until after the election or whatever. But regardless, there were all these allegations of like I said, all the things I mentioned previously, like trading on his dad's name, all this stuff, insider trading or whatever it was. And what did they charge him with again? After like 4 years of investigations, do you know? It was lying on one of his forms when he bought a gun. This is a form basically that says, I will do no drugs as long as I have this gun. Which, let's be real, who the fuck gets charged? That shit is probably like an extra charge for like drug dealers and shit. You know what I mean? It's not something people actually get charged with, because he had done cocaine like before or after purchasing this firearm, right? And tax fraud. But the separation between what he got charged with and the claims that were made against him is insane, right? But then you talk about like, where was I going? But that's like the separation. Like, if you talk to most people, they probably think that Hunter Biden was convicted for all the stuff, the bad shit that people said about him. No, that's a good point. But the reality is, these charges, like, and trust me, this was 4 years of Trump being in charge. So if they could have stuck those charges to him, they 100% would have.
Yeah. Do you feel like Donald Trump and all of his charges that he roped in over these years were real crimes, or do you feel like they were kind of thrown at him a little bit by the left as well?
I think there's probably a nuanced conversation to be had about lawfare, and I think that, man, it's so hard to say.
The reason I ask is because it almost seems like at this point, to every extreme, there's another extreme that's an example of the same thing. He was convicted
by a jury of his peers on 34 counts of, I think it was some kind of fraudulent business filing or something like that, with the money that he used to bribe Stormy Daniels. Or whatever, pay her off, basically. And that is a real thing that was convicted by a jury of his peers that he did. So it's like, on one hand, I think there's a level of, like, we shouldn't go digging into our political opponents just to find whatever we can, right? But on the other hand, that is not the same as fabricating charges. Like, if you want to talk about fabricating charges, we can talk about James Comey, who was recently indicted, where Trump literally fired the U.S. attorney out of Virginia because that guy said there wasn't a case against him, and he shopped around to find somebody who would press the charges until he settled on an insurance lawyer who has never prosecuted a case in her life and is pressing charges against him now. And they were able to get an indictment for 2 of the 3 charges, but that, I think, is something fundamentally different and more dangerous than, like, digging into somebody's past and finding whatever you can to pin on them, where you're literally just firing people because they are trying to do the right thing. And, I mean, if you're a Fox News viewer and you've seen any of this stuff, the Fox News legal, the head of the Fox News legal team, I can't think of his name, said that the judge should throw the case out, but the judge is in a bad spot because he's an Obama appointed judge. So he's not sure, like, it looks partisan if you throw it out. And Comey said, I'll go to court, because basically what happened is they charged him for lying to Congress or obstruction of justice. I think it was one lying under oath and one obstruction of justice. And they basically had asked him, like, did you authorize a leak for whatever thing it was? I think it was something about Russiagate or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
And he said no. But the reality of what happened is somebody else authorized the leak and then told him about it after the fact. So it's like, this is known testimony, and there's just no case there. Like, it's fundamentally different. If you're the boss of something, of course, you know, if you're running the entire FBI, I'm sure all sorts of things are happening and people are telling you about it. But there's fundamentally a difference between that and you saying, hey, you can do this.
Right. I agree. I also, it's tough too, man, because I like, let me tell you from where I sit, like what things look like to me, just as somebody that whenever I see all this back and forth, like I'm looking at some of the comments now, like TX, that's my dog. What's up, bro? He just said like they had, well, it was earlier on. He said they had, like they found the laptop and gave it up. But don't laugh at him, bro, because at the end of the day, the thing is they believe it's true.
The person said, why do you put yourself through this?
Why does Nelson put himself through this? Because I love him, bro. I love him. He's my friend, and I love y'all. And I put myself through it. Like me and my wife just had dinner with him and his girlfriend 3 weeks ago, and this is my boy, and I enjoy company with him. This is just a political view, and you know what I'm saying. So it's to me, like, that's kind of why I wanted to do this. Like I want people to realize that it's, to me, like his political views could matter less when I'm talking about breaking bread with somebody or having dinner with somebody. I could never hate him because of his political views, but he believes what he believes is truth. And a lot of times when I press him on it in person, y'all are just going to maybe have to take my word for this because it's really difficult to do on screen. But he pulls it up and shows me different sites and and I think that it all kind of boils down to like, who do you believe and why do you believe it? And when we're at that place, that's even more dangerous to me because now you're picking a news delivery system to be a part of your team, and that, like, I hate the team stuff, bro.
Well, like, just to expand on that, everybody talks about how evil the mainstream media is and all this stuff. And personally, and I think we've had this conversation somewhat before. I think
What's up, Silver Sky? Sorry.
A chicken and the egg situation where the news gets paid by advertising to people. The way you get paid from advertising is having more people watch your stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's a symbiotic relationship where if the news, wasn't paid, or the news is paid to sell it to as many people as possible, so they're going to do what makes people watch them. If people didn't watch the crazy shit, then it wouldn't be on the news because the people wouldn't get the views. This literally happened with the Dominion lawsuit, going back to the election stuff, where Fox News settled a $787 million lawsuit with Dominion because there were text messages literally showing the Fox News executives and Tucker Carlson and all these people saying, we're getting slaughtered in the ratings because we're not reporting on this, even though they're, I guess, fact-checking or whatever sort of system they have behind the scenes said that there's no merit to any of these cases. So they were in a shitty situation where OANN and Newsmax and all these people are getting better ratings than they are because they're reporting bullshit to their viewers, right? So that's the kind of like bad incentive system that leads to this like fake news shit. And you can say it happens on both sides. Now I would say it's way worse on that side. I mean, where's the $800 million lawsuit for disinformation?
Hold on. Let's stay there because that's all right. So, all right, that's a great place to start going into a different level of the conversation, right? Is because if it's happening, it's happening everywhere for sure. And you can say if you believe it happens on one side more than the other side, I'm not even going to argue with you because I think it happens a lot on both. My question is as somebody that thinks differently than me in some of these things, how do we move on from that to you? Like, what would you say, like, if someone was to ask you how to salute this problem where the media is being the media on both sides? It doesn't matter. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, we can talk about how it's worse on one side, but at the end of the day, if it's happening on both sides, then how do we fix that? Because that's like, to me, like, both of my kids lied to me and one of them stole a cookie. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, you lied and stole the cookie, but you lied. But at the end of the day, I need to get both of them to start telling the truth. And how do I go across that with the media?
Yeah,
in
but
the
what
grand
if
scheme
one
of
broke
things?
into a cookie store and lit it on fire and burned it down and lied about it? Like, I mean, we're talking about
Yeah.
almost $1 billion lawsuit where they had to fire one of their most popular political pundits. Like,
That's
that is
fair.
a difference in degree that is, like, nowhere close. You know what I mean?
That is fair.
But I
That's
do
fair.
just want to point. So people say, oh, the media is biased against Trump. This is something I pulled up because I saw it on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it, and it was just so funny. Like, people say the news is so biased against Trump, but in reality, he's pussy whipped by his girl. Damn.
Yeah.
My girlfriend is a Trump voter, so I think you'd be surprised.
Yikes.
Yeah. Who said that?
Welcome to reality.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dude's
I don't
a
know.
bit-
Pat.
Oh, well, so two things. So this is from CBS, which I think is one of the ones they say is like evil and anti-Trump, right? This is this interviewer.
Now,
is-
to be fair, let's set a precedent here because I want you to keep your thought, but I also want to say that that's something I believe as well. I do believe that the media as a whole, other than Fox News, which has their own list of laundry problems, is against Trump. I don't think that there's anything that he could do, say, or try that would make them say, "Good job, buddy."
okay.
And I believe that from every president standing that I have seen in my lifetime, I have never seen any news company.
Oh man, we're gonna have to do a lot of these because there's so many different ways we can go. So
Yeah.
Let me just read this out real quick, just to make the point where so they're talking about the government shutdown, and this reporter says, so Senator, Republicans say you're really fighting for his taxpayer dollars, as they put it, for illegal aliens. I know that's not strictly true, which we can have an argument about this too, which is what the Democrats are fighting for right now is not any benefits for illegal immigrants. So what this guy says is not strictly true, right? That is the most charitable possible interpretation of someone outright lying that I've ever heard. And she says, oh, excuse me, not true. He says, it's directly true. Which, like, he's not pushing back on it at all. Like, he's being so charitable to Johnson and Trump in not saying that they're blatantly lying. Like, and this is the guy who's supposed to be representative of, like, the evil CBS, who's fundamentally against Donald Trump. And he's being so charitable to them. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have, these guys are communists, these guys are whatever, right? So I just don't know how to parse that.
Well,
Okay, wait. So I thought the whole thing with the Democrats was they've been calling him Hitler since since he came down the golden escalator, and this is from 2 weeks ago.
Well, even still, she's calling him Hitler.
I'll say that's bad. I'll denounce that. But
good. That's what they're looking for.
This is one situation 2 weeks ago, which if we had done this 2 weeks ago, they wouldn't have been able to point to any. So I'm curious if they can find another one. But the other thing is, oh man, I had so many different ways we wanted to go about this.
Let's ask what Mama Don's trying to ask. Did Trump call neo-Nazis very fine people?
I would have to go back and listen to the transcript, but I think he said something like there were very fine people on both sides, which, I mean, if there were neo-Nazis on one side, then I guess technically he did. I don't think he said, like, neo-Nazis are great people or something like that.
All right. So I'm going to start guiding this conversation in another direction too, right? Like, because this is good stuff. I would like to get to this. But for everybody out there, we're going to have a podcast. So, like, this will have a different channel of its own. So we'll figure out a way to get that off of the ground and running. But I also... the main purpose of this is so that y'all can get to know. Go ahead in a second, but the main purpose is this so that y'all can get to know Dylan a little bit, and also just to kind of like set the mood as like not so obstructive and not so anti somebody, like, because y'all don't even know him. You know what I mean? And I don't even want to do this in terms of like we're only talking to a live, right? Because I do want this to be replayable. But
So I just want to say, I mean, you can call me uninformed, but you don't know me, obviously.
Who called you an informant?
I think Mama Don. But either way, I've done a ton of research on
Uninformed.
basically, yeah, uninformed.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought like you're a snitch, like an informant.
Oh no.
Informer. Sorry.
No, I've done a lot of work just researching alone.
I got you.
And-
He's not misinformed. I'm telling y'all, like I've been beside him, stood next to him, had these same conversations with him, and he will literally pull up everything that he's talking about and show it to you. The issue, Mama Don, isn't that he's uninformed. It might be that he's misinformed. Or is that what she said? Misinformed?
Uninformed.
And that's possible. The possibility is that you could be misinformed, but what you believe in is what you believe in is truth, in the same way that what she believes in is what she believes in truth, and one of y'all are misinformed. But at the end of the day, there's still so much common ground that we can find, and that's kind of what I was trying to show you guys.
Well, but this is the other thing, right? So first off, I've done a lot of political stuff. You know, I'm not out here fucking talking to the president or whatever, but I've talked on the state level. I've talked with, you know,
Go ahead.
maybe 100, I don't know, tens definitely at this point of state senators, representative stuff. You know, I've done a lot of, if anything, not stuff on the local level, but on the state level, I've been heavily involved. And federally, I've done, you know, a couple things in DC. Like, I'm just big in understanding how the government works. But on the political level of, like, you know, all the stuff going on, I think, just to sort of segue it, there's a fundamental issue where two people can look at the same thing and come away thinking it's completely different, right?
Good point.
So, you know, we might both be looking at something green, and one of us is saying it's red, and the other one is saying it's blue. And I think that's what's happening at this point. And I would contend, as I keep making, is that this is mostly a problem on the right, but, you know, you have a situation where...
Why?
Well, here's the thing. You have a situation where Donald Trump... So I was watching a debate, and someone said, the fact that our president has a mugshot is a sign that there is a huge problem in America with lawfare. But that is not... I'm not trying to be a fucking debate nerd, but it's called a non sequitur. There's two things that don't logically follow. It's like 2 + 2 means that the sky is blue. Like, that, it's just completely unrelated. And obviously they're closer in relation.
But they can find a way to relate it.
But,
yeah, that's what I was about to say. If you can find a way to relate 2 + 2 equals the sky, and somebody can relate to that, they'll...
But just because Trump has a mugshot doesn't mean that there was lawfare. Like, Trump could have committed those crimes. Like, why are these people, I guess a lot of the people in the chat, like, why is the immediate assumption that it's bullshit? Like, have you actually looked into the cases? Like, you know, have you read Jack Smith's indictment?
I think some of them have probably looked into the cases, but they're also define looking into. Like, when you look into something in today's world, you have to take the opinion or the
looking
take
into
of somebody
involves
else.
more than watching Joe Rogan's podcast or fucking Jesse Waters on Fox News. Like,
they might not know how. Like, I'm not trying to be
Okay, I
any
mean, that's
type of
fair,
way, but like in today's society, like, define it.
or
What's looking
typing it
into?
Grok or whatever. Like, you should just,
Right.
You can. That's the thing is, I think one of the big things, and we've encountered this in the store before, like. You can look a lot of this stuff up. People say, oh, well, how do we know where our tax money is going? Or how do we know where, this Ukraine money is going or whatever? There are government-run websites where they are legally obligated to tell you exactly where every dollar goes. I've done open records requests, inquiries into the Georgia tax budget and where they get some of their money and how much taxes they collect on certain things. I messaged them. It took like 3 days, and they got back to me, and they were like, oh, yes, sir. Would you like a spreadsheet formatted this way, that way, whatever? It's really easy to look into this stuff, but people just don't know that the tools are out there because they just sit there and just get fed this narrative of like hate.
And I'm going to be real. They're not going to take that. They're not going to heed that advice from you either. And that's kind of the issue. It's like if you, like that's where we're at. It's like they need somebody that they can relate to tell them that these tools are available. I'm super ADHD, bro. So if I start getting in this chat, I'm gonna be in the chat.
Yeah. How did trans stuff get brought up already? Like, can we not have a conversation about politics without talking about trans stuff?
We can talk about trans.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's like crazy.
What did they say about trans? Dang, Mama Don, really?
You see a man pretending to be a woman. You see a woman. I see a mentally ill man. We are not the same. Like, dog, can you... like, that's another thing, is people make politics about, like, 3 issues. It's, like, about trans people, abortion, and immigrants. And that's it. Like, why can we... That's the problem.
But it's very important to them. And some of those are, like, I don't want to be labeled a liberal. Some of that's important to me, too. Like, the trans stuff is important to me. gay marriage. Whereas a part of me wants to say live and let live, man. There's also a part of me that's like, and that part isn't being pushed on kids, I don't think. But I just don't want. There's so many things that just get like pushed out there, and when you're in a certain age bracket and when you're cut from a certain cloth and you see that, it's disgusting. And when you see it repeatedly, it starts to feel like you're being attacked. And I do feel like a lot of these people, not even just in the chat, but just in general, the conservatives, and I felt this way before as a Christian, where it feels like, okay, this is taking it too far, and you're not only attacking my faith, but you're trying to insinuate that my faith is wrong, and you're trying to push a different narrative into my kid's lap through a different direction or through a different direction. So I understand that, but it's I don't know, man. But
the problem is there's so many bigger issues in society than abortion, trans, and I mean immigration obviously is a huge thing. So, but like abortion and trans stuff, like I don't know.
But that's so important to me. Like abortion is so important to me, man. But I'm like totally against abortion, and I believe that. But I also believe that. I think I've probably shared this before on here, but I believe that if, like, as a Christian, if I'm going to stand against abortion totally and utterly, which sounds extreme today, that sounds like an extreme today, like, oh, that's nuts, bro. But if I'm going to stand against it totally and utterly, then I need to bring a solution to the table, and that solution to me would be that Christians need to do something about it instead of just whining about it. So if we're going to get rid of abortions, we need to go into these people's homes that aren't going to take care of their kids or feel like they can't take care of their kids, and we need to adopt them, and there needs to be an easier way to do it so that we can do it properly, and Christians need to step up to the plate and do what they need to do in order to actually salute the problem versus just complaining about a problem, which is, I feel like, unfortunately, all anybody does today is just talk about the problems, and nobody brings any real solutions to the table.
Well, I think this is where we end up having really good conversations where other people can't, because we can both bite the bullet. Like, I think too often people get stuck in a situation where they're like, oh, he's trying to trap me, so I'm going to give a really evasive, weird answer instead of just saying what I actually feel.
Right.
Because they're, like, worried that there's going to be some, like, you know, alley-oop at the end. But can we not, like, how much are you willing to give up? Like, how bad would the politician have to be for you to not vote for them if they were pro-life? Like...
Okay, good question.
Yeah.
Good question. I would have to see what that looked like in the moment, because my assumption, and this is just an assumption, this isn't a no, but my assumption would be like, okay, but seeing this is something that Trump did that kind of irritated me, because when he got, all right, so follow through the mind of me, even if you feel like it sounds stupid, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Trump gets shot at, all right? In that moment, I'm thinking to myself, maybe he has a close to God moment. Maybe this is what drives him into faith. And when he starts, you know, going down and he starts really getting his campaign off, I heard several times, bro, he said that he was against abortions, that he wanted to get rid of abortions. Now, I was behind that totally and utterly as a Christian. And I was thinking, okay, maybe he's gotten closer to God, and maybe this is like a coming to Jesus moment for him. And then when everything gets to knocking, he says, you know, we're just going to leave it up to the states, which I don't disagree with in terms of where, like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the moment, I felt like that was it. But we also have to have this roots to those problems.
He might not have gotten elected if he stuck with that.
Maybe not. But I appreciated it nonetheless. But let me bring my point home, right? So if in that scenario, he was pro-life for real, right? So that's like pro-life. I don't believe that there should be abortions. Now, it's going to happen in every video. But if that's all you have that you're bringing to the table, like I wouldn't be a single issue voter on that, but I would assume that if you are pro-life in that way, that you hold other core values that I do dear to heart as well.
But my issue is, I'm pretty sure, depending on where they ran, a Republican candidate could exclusively run on anti-immigration, anti-abortion, anti-trans, and they would not need any other policies, and they could probably get elected. What are we looking at?
Oh. Here are the Democrats who called Trump Hitler for the last 8 years.
Hey, yo, and welcome to a special edition of
How long is this?
just showing
9
that
minutes,
rhetoric has
23.
consequences. That ultimately
These aren't
the
politicians,
leftist
by the
media,
way,
the
but-
mainstream media here in the United States.
Well, the mainstream media is a
basically
problem, too.
promotes garbage, propaganda, and
We can't sit through the whole video. This is what I was talking about. I could pull up a video. We need to make that happen next
Man,
time.
this guy's
But before
yapping
we
too
dive
much.
in, we are sponsored.
To say that, I mean, that is Mussolini Hitler-like language.
Hitler-like language.
I told you that I've heard people say this a
Well,
lot.
I asked for politicians, and we got one Jasmine Crockett video from very recently, which
Well, politically, I don't know if a lot of politicians have said it, and I think that should be the precedent as well. But I understand her. I understand, like, if you're like, I still drop down. Like, you can call me a liberal. I think that Trump was the best candidate to run, and I'm still more happy with Trump than I feel like I would have been with Kamala.
no way,
I think so.
no fucking way.
But I also don't.
Oh man,
I've told you that before. I told you that like the last
where are
time we talked
where are
about
the
it.
W's? Like, what's he done that's good?
I don't know yet. I feel like we got to give it more time. I feel like we got to
Let
give
him
it
cook.
more
It's
time.
only been a year.
But I don't think she.
Oh,
I think.
no.
I think. All right. So let's
Wait,
say.
okay,
so let's do this. So I feel like if she would have won, I feel like you're asking where the W's are. I feel
Biden-
like she would have been doing L on top of L on
Bro,
top of
Biden, Trump was literally taking credit for Biden's economy in January 2024. A year before Trump came into office, he was already taking credit for Biden's
Didn't
economy.
Biden do that too, though? Didn't Biden say, like, it's always that,
No,
bro.
no,
It's
no,
always
no.
like they can't take credit for the economy in the way that it is now.
No.
I don't know how the economy works enough to have that conversation, but they always do that to where it's like, I hear that constantly, like, oh, well, Obama's is the reason why the economy's good now, and then, but that we're getting way past where we were going. So at least I shout out Mama Dawn. She pulled up a video where there's a bunch of Democrats calling
think
Trump
she's
Hitler.
gone.
She is gone. I hate that, but it is what it is. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm just trying to have a conversation with a friend. This is just like literally having a conversation with a friend. I mean, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
But I love Mama Dawn. I hope that she's all right.
Okay, Andy O. Oh man,
What did he say?
I don't know if I should respond to the chat because I feel like the chat is like
No.
fucking with our flow, but also these people are triggering me a little bit. Oh my god, that's crazy. There's so many crazy. We need to do one where it's just me arguing with the chat. That would be so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like this is the time for that.
No, you're right. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
I see.
Because I want this to be out. Like I said, I want this to be a precedent. I don't want it to be something where people can. I don't want that. And I thought I thought it would be great to go live, but then there was another part of me that was thinking about it too, and I was like, I don't know if it would. We do need to do this again where I'm not going live, because I do feel like there's a lot of people that this could benefit and it could help and it could give a sense of hope to. Whereas I feel like too many people in today's society just want to label you something and put you in a corner for it.
I mean,
so I don't know what to do about that.
It's the perfect example that the guy came in and he's like, this guy's a pussy. He's listening to his girlfriend too much. Like, the automatic assumption that I'm a liberal snowflake because my girlfriend brainwashed me is hilarious. Like, because you've met her. Like, and
Yes,
she
she's awesome.
Is a Christian.
What's up, Tessa?
A Christian conservative.
Yeah.
Like, it's just funny that that's the automatic assumption. But I guess if we want to go back to like the seeing two things and seeing one thing and seeing two different things as a result.
Well, let me hear what Mama Dawn had to say. It's 48 seconds long.
Oh my God.
I hope she's ready to be on live.
Okay, Nelson, he might be a wonderful person. I'm glad he's a friend, but he is completely uninformed. There are several things that he said that
Listen to what she says.
on video. That's not what happened.
Like what?
So he is uninformed. And if he's showing you things and you're not taking into consideration the source or anything else, simply because you're not a real political person and you don't know that stuff, that
That's a
doesn't make
fact.
him right.
That's a
I can't
fact. I'm not
sit and
political.
listen to it. I can't.
Yeah.
You put me on a podcast podcast with him and see what happens.
Oh, let's go, baby.
Because I have the facts to back it up.
Let's go.
I
I would
love
love to see your fucking clip.
Thank you for saying that you love me at the end of that. I love you too. I would be down to let y'all two spout, bro. This is the thing, like, here we are again though, like, and I'm gonna push on you a little bit here, Mama Don too, because like here we are, like, y'all, everybody has to learn to have conversations without losing it and getting upset and just throwing in the towel, because if that's all we can do as a society, we're never going to get anywhere, because whether we like it or not, half of our country disagrees with what our beliefs are. And if we can't just literally just sit down and have a conversation with somebody without getting angry about their belief system, like I said, you really have to put it into perspective here, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all something. Listen. You have to put it into perspective that if you believe what you believe is 100% right, they do too. And you have to think about that when you're discussing it. Think about how somebody would have to come up to you and discuss to you that what your belief system is wrong. Think about how that would have to be driven to you in order for you to take heed to it, acknowledge it, embrace it, and grow with it. It's damn near impossible. And that's why I'm trying to have these discussions. I think that it's important. So I love you too, and I appreciate you so much. I don't even know what to do with you sometimes. I appreciate you so much. But I feel like what's all right, so let's say that everything, let's do this. Let's say that everything that you think is all right, not you, because I'm talking to you. Let's say that everything that they say is totally and utterly wrong. And I want y'all to do this too. Everybody in the chat. And you do. Everything that he says is totally and utterly wrong. All right? What now? Where do we go from there? And that's where I'm trying. That's my motive. That's my heart. I could care less. Like, if you believe that Judge Mathis from San Diego is like an evildoer, like I don't know him. Like, I just want to, like, I know that there's more important things than that, but I'm talking about on a grand scale. Most of the people are not focused on what's important. They're focused on gotcha.
Well, the problem is, oh man, the problem is they're not interested in any solutions right now because they're in charge. Like,
okay.
I don't know. The issue with the far left, right, is, as I said, they are not politically effective. All they do is sit and critique power, basically. I think it's ContraPoints, this like left-ish political creator who basically said the left loves to critique power. But they don't actually do anything. All they do is bitch, right? And that's how I feel about MAGA. They love to bitch about everything, but as soon as they have control, they don't actually fix anything. Like, they've passed one really big piece of legislation, the One Big Beautiful Bill, that what did it do? Like,
I don't know.
It was a bunch of budget cuts. It was a bunch of
I will
cuts.
say just as I'm in a good place. I'm doing good in my life and I'm happy with my life. I don't know if I and this is the problem with being uninformed. I'm uninformed. I don't know who to give that credit to. You know what I mean? Like, that I'm doing good in life. But what I can say is that I don't feel any different now or see any differences now as far as gas, groceries, savings.
Right,
that's what I'm saying. I don't see where, and I'm just I'm critiquing honestly.
Cool.
I haven't seen a major drop in prices to where I can say, yes, this is working, but I'm also not going to completely write him off and say, like, no, that it's absolutely insane, it won't work, but because I don't know what it looks like in 2 years, and then in 3 years it might be great. And then 7 years down the road, somebody else is taking credit for his good.
So
I don't know.
The perfect example is the ACA, right? So what the Democrats are fighting for right now is, I think, returning some Medicaid benefits or Medicare benefits, and they're basically fighting for the ACA subsidy again to prevent health care for people who went through the Obamacare going up, right?
Okay.
Are you actually listening?
Mm-hmm. I am.
And Trump ran in 2016 on replacing the ACA, right? Replacing it. And they never... So McCain was the final vote to famously, thumbs down the repeal of the ACA. And Trump even then didn't have an alternate solution, right? When he ran again in 2024 and was debating Kamala, he said he had concepts of a plan. I mean, you're talking 8 years later he's running. and he only has concepts of a plan for something to replace it with, and now the big beautiful bill fucking defunded it, and he still doesn't have a replacement. So that's what I'm talking about. Critiquing power with no actual solutions.
Before I feel like a lot of times what he does is I do feel like a lot of times, just as a businessman, he leaves it kind of in the abyss of what his actual plan is. There, I can't argue with that because there's still nothing done, like you said. But
that's the thing, is if he had a replacement, he would have passed the replacement instead of just defunding the ACA. Like,
and are we sure that that's not completely out of the picture now?
Where's the bill?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
all
know.
he would have to say is, hey, Democrats, why are you fighting for this ACA? We have an even better thing now.
Yeah.
Like, but he's not doing that, right? So
Yeah.
the absence of that, I feel like, unless he's just completely inept, which, I mean, I think he is, but...
And a lot of what he ran on hasn't been accomplished yet. I do think he's trying really hard with the Russian-Ukraine thing. I do think he's trying, but I don't know if I can blame that it's still going on him.
He said like 50 times or something in rallies that he was going to end it day one. Which
He did, which is crazy. He
this
shouldn't
is-
have said
this
that.
is where we're
We
at,
all
yeah.
knew he wasn't going to end it on day
I don't know.
one.
I feel like this is just going to be me steamrolling you with a bunch of bullshit that you don't like know which way. So you're just going to, like what Mamadan said, is you're not going to know what. You know,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
okay.
Fact check me right now, so I don't want to just go on and on and on about that. But
It's tough to figure out.
Well, I mean, if I don't know where you want to go with this. You'd said you had some. You want to talk about like Kimmel or something like that?
Yeah, I do. I do want to talk about Kimmel a little bit.
This is Kimmel. I think is the perfect example of the looking at two different things and coming away with completely different conclusions.
So I still feel like, all right. So I guess it just depends on what you classify as cancel culture, right? But I still feel like that. I feel like I feel like if you think that Kimmel got canceled and that it was a part of cancel culture, and I agree with you. I would hate that. Like, I'm not about cancel culture. I think cancel culture is the stupidest, wackest thing on earth. People can learn from their mistakes. They can learn from their problems, and they can grow. It's not right to take people's livelihood away from them because of what they say or what they do. However, a lot of people are saying that what it actually was, and this is what I wanted to ask you, right? So, like, even if it doesn't matter if you're against it or not. So if you have somebody that works at Vape Loft, right, and they're consistently saying X, Y, or Z, which they shouldn't have said, and you give them like a formal warning, like, I wouldn't do that, you shouldn't say that, and then they say it anyway, and you fire them for it because somebody reported to you that that's what they said, is that the same thing as cancel culture, or is that just he got fired and let go because of, and I understand, like, what's his name,
I mean,
was pressing them hard on it, but at the end of the day, I still feel like he said something that maybe he shouldn't have said, or he said something he shouldn't have said, and
I don't even think it was that controversial of a thing to say.
actually,
I'll even fight you on that. But so there's two things. So first off, I think, yes, obviously, if somebody reports somebody doing something wrong that is directly affecting the business, then I think they should be fired. But
Okay.
I think we need to, like, as a society now, we need to figure out, like, where the policy is on social media. Because, like, a lot of people say a lot of shit on social media. Like, and, the chance
I think half
that-
of them don't even mean what they're saying.
But, like, if you're a big company like Microsoft or something, I can see how one of your employees might have an impact. But if you're an employee at fucking Home Depot, or I guess Home Depot's a bad example because they're national, at Joe Schmo's fucking lawn shop, and you're posting on Facebook about some crazy shit, what are the odds that somebody who lives in your town is going to see that, and then they're going to use that to not go to Joe Schmo's lawn shop, right? Like, I think we need to have, like, a line, But it's hard to say because, I mean, there is tangible impact of what people say. Like that one Home Depot chick who got canceled. I can't remember even what the controversy was, but somebody filmed a video in a Home Depot or whatever, and she got canceled. But my real issue is that this is the perfect example. I think that regardless of whether or not Kimmel got fired or suspended or whatever, doesn't matter.
Okay.
I think they could have told Brendan Carr, the FCC guy, double birds, go fuck yourself, and it still would have been a huge problem. Like,
Okay.
the chairman of the FCC going onto an interview on the internet and saying, we can do this the easy way or the hard
Or
way.
the hard way. Yeah.
Is fucked. Like it's for a.
I don't think
pundit
it's a good
speech,
precedent to
It
set.
doesn't matter what he said or what kind
Yeah.
of network it is. Period. Like it is a terrible precedent to set for the First Amendment, and the fact that like
I do agree.
Trump doubled down on it when they brought Kimmel back. Like
He did.
Yeah.
He did. I think that goes back into what we were talking about with Kirk's funeral too, where like, would you say that? And I think we can probably. This will be a good way to close this out, man. Because in all honesty, I think this will be a great closer. So, like, you would say, we've talked about it behind the mic, but on the mic, you would say that Erica Kirk's behavior at Charlie Kirk's funeral. Would you say that is probably the best way to handle that situation whenever you have a whole country of people at each other's throats, right? Let's not even get into Trump yet. Just Erica Kirk and her precedent of I forgive you. And I've been preaching this. I think that is the way out. I think that's the way forward. In order for me to even meet you in the middle or to figure out what your beliefs are, if I feel like you've wronged me, I have to forgive you first. And that's, I think, a big part of the issue of where we're at in society today is everybody feels like they've been wronged by the other side in some way, shape, or form. And if you play a part on that team and you're on that team, they're going to feel like you initially directly disrespected me, right? So if Erica Kirk and I feel like that's the only way out. I also hate how everybody used that funeral to kind of gaslight conservativeship when it should have been focused and precedented on Jesus in that moment, because that moment was a very
I think they ruined it. I mean, I think like
I agree.
When you sandwich like that, which was, I will say, extremely admirable moment. Like, there's no way I could have done that if, like,
I couldn't have
you know,
either.
my girlfriend or anybody close to me
Not a
got
chance.
shot. Like, you know, not 2 weeks before.
Not
like,
a
no
chance.
way. Yeah, no
She's
way.
extremely
But then you
strong.
sandwich that with like a bunch of weird like dancers and fireworks and fucking political rally bullshit. Like, I think it completely waters it down and ruins it.
I didn't like that either, and I got to be real about it. Like I didn't like and listen, somebody, I think it was Jody. She made a really good point to me whenever I was kind of irritated with Trump's part of that, because I was like, man, this is perfect. This is exactly what we need. That should have been all that was said, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if she said that and she was standing on that, I would have loved to have seen everybody else kind of follow suit. And I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people were kind of following suit. However, Trump got up there, and when Trump said,
He hates his enemies. Or whatever.
yeah, bro. I hated that, and Jody made a good point. Like, bro, they shot at him too. Like, if they shoot at you, and then they shoot somebody that you considered yourself to be a friend with, you're gonna have hatred towards
What do you
them.
mean by they? Because is there any proof that the butler or whatever that guy's name was was anything connected to the left at all, or not just some crazy fucking insane kid who took a shot at the most famous person he could?
I think that I think people are just going based off of what they're hearing on their media sources.
But I don't
man.
think there's any proof that the kid that I forget what his name was. Either his last name was Butler or was it Butler? I don't know.
Bitch
But
ass boy.
regardless, yeah.
Oh, look.
I don't think there's been any proof of that.
What happened to the camera?
Oh shit!
My bad, y'all.
It moves
There we
itself.
go. Yeah,
What?
you were right.
I know.
But
I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I don't think there's been any proof that tied him with the left. I think that's the other thing is like before we even knew who it was that shot Charlie Kirk, the left was being blamed. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it should just be blanket denounced regardless. And there's crazy people on all sides.
good
Like,
point. No, good point. I agree with that totally. It should just be denounced, period. It should.
Like,
It's actually a really good point that I didn't even I'm not even all the way conservative. I lean conservative, but I didn't even think about it in that way of like even for me, like I got to a point where I was like, man, I can't believe that the left would do this, and I started running with that too. It should just be denounced.
Okay, here's I think a good way, because it really is hard. Like I said, if there's no overlap in reality, it's so difficult to have conversations. But what I would like is I just want to see principled people, like
Yeah, bro.
at all. Like even if I were to grant that whatever the left or liberals or whatever did to Trump is lawfare. If you're sitting there and you're calling lawfare terrible, only to do the same thing and say, you asked for it, like that's the kind of eye for an eye bullshit that will ruin everything. Like what you're talking about.
I agree.
Which it's hard because you're literally asking people to apologize for something they think they're not doing. So it's like if whatever person thinks that, oh, they deserve it, then you're asking them to apologize for something they think they're not doing. So that's what I'm saying. We just need to live in reality.
That's actually a solid point. Like that's like me asking you to apologize for the death of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. It's like I didn't do anything bad.
Why are we there, and how do we get out of this, bro? I mean, it makes my head spin because every time that I think I got it figured out and I think I know a good way out, man, I think about something else on a deeper level where I even see something that I've done in that way where it like I've even played a part of this team ideology and I'm like, oh my God, bro, even you're doing it. And it's like almost uncontrollable.
I mean, I think we just need we need to like.
I like your principle argument, like just stand on your damn principles,
people, yeah.
Man. And I feel like we need that severely.
Because if we just, it's like I have a little sister. When we were kids, she'd punch me like that, and I'd fucking punch her back, and then she'd punch me back, and I'd fucking sock the shit out of her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like we can't just keep escalating, otherwise we're just gonna blow each other up.
Yeah.
So like at some point we have to like just chill.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if getting people to chill is the way to. I don't know if I agree with you on the way of getting people to chill. Like if you want, like, let's say if you're, I don't know how, because this is the issue, right? It's like you have to kind of call people out on their BS.
Well,
but how do you do that in a way that doesn't offend them? Because like we just made a video that probably offended 100 people. You know what I mean? In 2 seconds. Like, and that's like, it was even, I think it even offended people that I was conversing with you, which I didn't expect that to happen. But like, it's.
My thing is, and I could be crazy, but you say you want to let Trump cook. My current hope.
We have to let Trump cook.
Well, yeah. Well, at least until 2026, unless he rigs enough, gerrymanders enough places. But my hope is that we'll let Trump cook and things will continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Jobs numbers are tanking. We're blowing up people in Venezuela for no reason with no proof. I didn't get to talk about that yet. That's fucking crazy. The wars are still raging worse than they ever have in Ukraine and, Gaza. We're killing a bunch of people or, whatever. There's a famine, all this crazy shit. And a couple years down the line, people will be like, "Oh shit!"
Get your last disses in real quick. Yeah, I see.
I'm just saying,
like,
there's a bunch of crazy shit happening, and I'm hoping that will at least let people see reality. And maybe if you could say the same thing about if a Democrat wins in 2028, right, and they have 4 years to cook, and just only terrible things happen. Maybe we both need to be like, okay, Trump sucked, this Democrat sucked. We got to figure our shit out.
Well, I think that I don't have any real gripes with Trump right now because I'm not informed enough. I'm just being honest. I'm not informed enough. But I will say that that's kind of where I'm at. Period. It's just like I feel like everybody just sucks, and I love what you said about principles because I'm all about standing on your principalities and I'm all about like having a code and having this sense of morale. But if you don't, I'm almost at the point where I feel like even if you're trying to showcase your morale in your code, I feel like it's just hard to trust anything now. But like, especially when I have these conversations with you on a regular basis where I feel like I got everything figured out and then you will show me things which they might think you're not, sending me astray. But like, I'm a critical thinker. I might not be political, but I'm a pretty critical thinker. So I can kind of look and try to see things from perspective. And I think that that's lost on people too. And we could probably go round and round talking about this, but I think the perspective is lost on people too, and it's just. I
just want to clarify. I don't want us to fail. I want America to be as good as possible. But, and look at it from my point of view, right? If Kamala was in charge, and in your mind shit was getting crazy, and you're like, God, these people, like, there's enough of them to elect a crazy president that's doing all this crazy shit. How can we teach them, right? And like. The only way for them to be taught is for them to like actually feel the impacts of the bad things that are happening. And in my mind, I only want it to get slightly worse to the point where people actually are affected by this shit, like by the trade policies that are causing inflation, the tariffs, and all these other things. And so then they can finally realize, oh shit, this is bad policy, so we can fix it and make
Move
things
forward.
better.
Move forward.
I, in my mind, I think that's
Because
the
you think
only
we're at
way.
a standstill.
Well, I just think that, I don't know, my girlfriend and I, speaking of fucking liberal shit, which I don't know why Hamilton, have you seen Hamilton? Mm-hmm. I didn't strike me as super political, but I think at the time it was like,
I don't know, man. People
said.
said Superman was political.
Yeah. But we watched Hamilton, and like even then, like these guys were getting in fucking duels, and like same shit, like leaking private life shit to the news to get them fucking screwed over so they could pass their political stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, this is like basically day one in the country, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, none of this shit is new, obviously, but like my point is there's a lot of really smart people that put a lot of thought into like the central banking system and the global trade systems and all these things that we have that contribute to America's success. And I think this is which I guess we should have gone into like, I guess the way I think about stuff before, because now they just assume I'm like a triggered liberal or whatever. But
There's no way they can leave this and
Yeah.
feel that way. But
my general thought is like there are a lot of people that contributed these amazing policies that led to the success of America, and everybody now forgets or doesn't know all of the work, that hard work that was put into building this amazing America that we live in. And they're forgetting that, and they're letting Trump, in my eyes, tear all this shit down, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't have to agree, but
Well, whereas I was just gonna say, if they just replace the word Trump, they can relate.
well, all that shit is being torn down, in my opinion, and I think we'll see the effects of it. And I think it's a good thing in a sense, because I think we're so far removed from all of the stuff getting set up that people have forgotten. And I think it'll be a good little reminder that like, holy shit, America is not entitled to greatness. We're great because of the work that our people who came before us put in to make America great, right? Like, it's like the college thing. These crazy people who are like, oh, we stopped sending our kids to college. Like, America would not be great if we stopped sending every kid to college. You can think that,
I agree.
but you're fucking
No, I
wrong.
agree.
Like,
I
we
agree.
excel in technology and culture and all these things, but what is that if we don't have an educated population?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what we excel at is, like we get, like the whole thing with manufacturing. We're not fucking putting doors on cars. We're getting the doors put on cars in other countries. They ship the car to us, and we're installing all the cool fucking technology and shit into the
Right.
cars because that's what we do. We're good at all the fucking high tech shit, right?
Right.
So I think we've forgotten, and it's not anyone's fault. I mean, we're so separated, and there's so many other things going on and distractions and stuff that it's easy to lose all the minutia of the like systems that work in everything else that's happening.
Honestly, I'm in agreement. I don't have anything that other than the Trump. Like, I don't necessarily believe that we can just put the blame on Trump. I don't necessarily believe we can put the blame on any politician. I believe that we have to start looking at ourselves. Going back to your principles argument, I think we have to start looking at ourselves, and we have to start saying, okay, if we're gonna make it out of this, then like you said, unfortunately, sometimes catastrophe has to happen in order for you to find peace. And that's my life, bro. Like, my life was catastrophic, and then I found peace. Like, I live by that. I like daily. I'm always in fear that, like, I live my life in fear that God is going to take from me what I have or what He's given to me, and that's it keeps me straight. It keeps me narrow, and it keeps me honest. And I think that I don't disagree with your sentiment.
Well, I think going back to the three core issues, like, I think that's the problem is we care more about, abortion or whatever than a principled politician. So we'll take an unprincipled politician as long as they agree with us on these like big issues. Like, I would much rather, we find, I don't know how we do it, but some way to settle these things. And then we can actually have like substantive debates on like the shit that matters, that actually affects people. Like, and I know we're talking about like abortion affects you greatly, but think about the shit that really affects you, like trade policy and taxes and healthcare and all this stuff. That's a huge problem that we can't ever touch, really, because one side's going to vote yes on the guy who hates it, and one side's going to vote no on the guy who doesn't like it. Like,
Yeah.
none of the other shit matters. But
Yeah.
there's so much other stuff in America.
And all the problems that continue to transpire and continue to unfold, everybody wants to blame that on a specific group, and they group you into that whole group. And then, like D just said, there's some truth to this, bro. The left wants to take your guns away. Let's just stop there. Like, the left wants to take your guns away. You're a proud gun owner,
Yeah.
correct?
Well,
so the left doesn't want to take your guns away. Like, there was maybe a presidential
we
candidate
got
that
4
wanted
years
to.
of Biden. How do I still have a gun? Where's all the gun legislation that happened? 4 years of Biden.
But I think that there's misinformation going everywhere, and this is what I want to close with this, because we're going to keep going in circles.
Yeah.
But I do want to close with this, and I think you'll probably agree with me. I think that misinformation is so prevalent and prominent in society that everybody is misinformed, and everybody feels like they know everything. I think that's where we're at. I think it's unfortunate, but that's just where we are. And until people start taking their guards down and saying, I'm willing to learn a little bit, I'm willing to learn a little bit.
Yeah.
If people start taking their guards down and saying, I'm willing to learn a little bit, maybe I'm wrong about this, maybe I'm wrong about that. And I'm not talking about any one of y'all specifically, I'm just talking about in general. Until people start doing that, we're not going to get anywhere. And I guess at that point, it's just a matter of, do you want to go somewhere, or do you want to continue to live in this turmoil for, our kids and our grandkids and everybody else? And that was the point of this. I just wanted to show you guys that you can smile and have a conversation with a friend that doesn't agree with the same things as you.
Yeah.
You still like me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still like you too.
Your chat
Even
is
though
interesting.
they called me a liberal, though.
We need to have a conversation with your chat at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah. Yeah, and we will. We will. We'll do this again, and we'll actually open the chat up and have like a real conversation with y'all. But I wanted this to be more podcast centered. It's my fault. I shouldn't have went live, but I did.
It's just so funny. One person says he spent the whole term going after guns, and the other person says he was asleep the whole time. Like, which is it? Was he doing, like, how can we have these two people saying completely different things? That's what I mean.
And one's obviously joking, but the other one, like, Diesel, my response to that would be, specifically for me, is like, I truthfully, I don't know enough. I don't know. And that's my ignorance. But like, my goal on this wasn't to get him. Like, my goal on this was to try to be open-minded and understand where he's coming from. And I think I was successful in that. A lot of people shut it down immediately. A lot of people were so hot about it that they left midway through it. That's good. I want my content to do that. I want my content to drive people in that way and make people upset, make them think, make them say a bunch. But I think ultimately where I stand is going to ultimately always be the same place, which is that I think love your neighbor and love your God. Love your God is going to give you those fundamental, I'm having a brain fart. Like the code, you know what I mean? Like your morals.
Yeah.
So like, you love your God, you're going to have those morals. If you love your neighbor, you're going to have compassion, you're going to have the fruits of the Spirit, and you're going to take your guard down, and you're going to try to move forward with them. So you guys can't tell me that I've done anything wrong here. I don't believe I've done anything wrong at all. I think this was a good step in the right direction, and I think that everybody should follow it. You might not agree with me, you might not agree with him, you might hate me for not disagreeing with him more. But at the end of the day, if we want to move forward and we want to do better with life, we got to shake hands and learn how to cooperate. And that was the goal. That was the point of this. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to get off before we get off?
Yeah, I just want to say my fundamentals for my political system, and I think I might have told you this before, is I strive to create a system where no matter, and I heard this from someone, I can't remember who, but I want a system where no matter, if one day I woke up and I was in anybody else's shoes, I would be fine in that system. Where, like, there's no guarantee of, that I'm going to be a white dude or whatever. Like, I want a system where, like, if I was a Mexican girl or whatever it is, that I would be happy in that system. But it's not like this weird, I don't know, everybody's ascribing crazy shit and, the comments are the comments. But, I just want a system that works better for everybody. And I really do, based on all of my research, think that what the things that I said are true and would be best for
I
everybody.
respect you for that. No, I love that you said that. I'm grateful you did. And y'all can disagree with his ideology. But at the end of the day, y'all want the same thing that he wants. He just thinks he has a better way to get to it than you do. And that's where we're at. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you. It was a blast. And we will be doing this some more. So we'll go gung-ho with the comments on the next one, man. Thank y'all for watching and tuning in. And thank you for your comments. Peace.